Action. Hello.
Hello, everyone. We are here.
You don't know where to go
Yay.
joke-wise, do you? Because it's a whole different franchise, it's a whole different everything.
True enough. True enough. All right. So Joseph Petrick already puts in €2. Wow. Thank you, Joseph. Attention, attention. I am here. Praise me. Sure. All praise to Joseph.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, is it working? Okay, it's working. Great, cool. So yeah, very different topic today, but
hmm
I mean in terms of epicness, I mean it had to be covered at some point, didn't it, really?
Yeah. Well, we obviously want to talk about Endgame, but we need to lead up to that, and so that's what today is all about. We're going to talk about Infinity
This
War
pretty
first.
thing happened first.
Dun dun dun.
All the 4K.
Dun dun. Dun
Dum
dun
dum dum.
dun.
I mean, look how many people. I mean, it's all the same post, but god damn it, there's so many people. And they're all being paid good salaries. It's not just like all the secondary actors that are up and coming. They're all like, we'll throw him a lot of money, or throw him a lot of money. Well, I wonder if Vin Diesel is still doing Groot. Because obviously he's, different ages of Groot.
He is. He's still doing them for Endgame.
Okay. Teenage Groot, Kid Groot, they just make it sound much more high pitched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am Groot.
I am
Oh,
Groot!
language.
I mean, what a cult! But he should be a second role as well, because I feel like he could probably get away with be more than one, and people wouldn't get it. I feel like it's not like he's doing mocap for it. That would be
Yeah.
wonderful if they did. But so Stuart, what's your history with the Marvel franchise? After the guys do super chat, talk to us, let us know what you think. We want to hear your thoughts on the entire Marvel franchise and Infinity War. And Super Chat is a great way to do that. Bit of money, bit of support, and we'll read it out, and you're forced to have your say. And what do you think? And so there you go, Stuart. What's your sort of history on the Marvel franchise, which is the culmination of Part 1?
Hmm. Well, I've never been much of a Marvel fan growing up. I was more of a DC guy. I preferred the DC superheroes to the Marvel ones. Didn't care about Iron Man and all that until the movies started coming out, and then they made them cool. Like Thor, didn't care. Now they're well done, and they've really bolstered those franchises. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, when it first came out, I was like, that's a thing? What? But yeah, I've really enjoyed the movies and seen Endgame twice now. And yeah,
And
that's my history.
Infinity War twice too, because you watched it once in the cinema. Was today your second run through?
Oh, I've seen Infinity War a few times. Yeah, probably 4 or 5. I watched it again today. Just finished up just before this live stream. So
Does it get better on future more viewings? Did you find this one in particular got better?
yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Because some things are like exactly the same good the second time. Some things are worse. Some things are better. I'm not putting on the spot there, but how does this fall, do you think, as a repeat view film?
It's definitely better. There's a lot more nuance the more you watch it, the more you pick up, obviously. And after having seen Endgame, the direct references to Endgame, like kind of what's to come is really interesting. Again, it's like watching Discovery, the whole entire season, and then going back and rewatching the first few episodes. We were like, huh? Because the things kind of draw a nice parallel there. So
it's like in this movie, Tony has, his one conversation with Pepper in the park is about Morgan the kid, and the first time you watch it, it's like, okay, and then Endgame's like, oh damn, that's such a, and then you watch it, and it's like, oh, because it's just such a throwaway, but it's build up, it's set up.
Yeah, completely glossed over that the first time. It's like, yeah, whatever. I didn't see any foreshadowing or anything there.
Because why would you?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah,
it's just character dialogue, because you need some of that in these films.
And it's funny because
I'm gonna share while you talk. So,
yeah. And it's funny because at the end of Infinity War, the first time I saw it, I remember going, how ironic is it that Tony Stark survived, considering he's like one of the most selfish Avengers. He kind of got everybody, well, not everybody, but he got, Peter involved, and Peter died, or didn't die, disappeared. It was just kind of weird that he was one of the survivors. I didn't expect that necessarily, and I'm like, wow, that's a real stick in the craw. The universe doesn't really know how to handle things. And it's funny because you watch things, and guys, spoilers. If you haven't seen Endgame, you probably shouldn't watch this one because we're going to kind of refer to both. But there's definitely an interesting part where Doctor Strange is like, I've seen all 14,600,000 and whatever permutations of the future, and there's only one that we survive. And then when Thanos is about to kill Tony, that's when Doctor Strange is like, oh, here's the stone for his life, because he knows the future. He knows that Tony's the one that kind of they need for that one permutation of the future where this actually works. So, yeah, because I thought that was kind of an odd choice the first time around, because they didn't get along when they first met, and the Wizard and Tony. So it was kind of an odd choice for him to save his life like that, but it all makes sense now in retrospect. And yes, spoiler alert, guys. The admins are like, oh, by the way, spoiler alert. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on a second. There was a good Thanos to be too powerful and too all-knowing, and even when they had a chance to beat him, they pissed it away. Just story stuff. Yeah, the one thing that kind of annoyed me was, even in the second movie, is just Thanos' overall strength. I mean, taking on multiple Avengers, even though, yeah, he's strong, fine, but when the odds are against you, it just seems kind of odd that he managed to hold his own so much, even in Endgame. I don't know. I just thought it was. I mean, I guess there's a backstory there with him being almost like a god, but still. And I lost a lot of respect for one character in particular in this movie. That would be Star-Lord, Peter Quill. Just when they were about to get the glove off, or the glove, I guess, power glove, Quill went a little bit off the rails, and really, they only needed a few more seconds. I don't know how things would have really changed had that have happened, but it's just so frustrating to watch that every time, and I just lose all respect for Quill as a result of it. So I don't know. That's just my thinking. And Polish Gamer puts in £10 and says, since it's a tradition for me to give my opinion of what you guys review on stream, I enjoyed the film, but I find it was way too overhyped, and I was sick of it before I saw it. I did enjoy it, though.
Oh, wow, that's a strong opinion.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I thought it hit all expectations, which is rare. Honestly. I mean, that's the same thing with the first Avengers. You go in thinking, how on earth could they really do one with all these heroes combined? And then it's just masterfully done. This one, I felt was like, well, how can I make it good? Damn, they made it really good. Endgame is a different beast. I think out of the two, this one's a better movie. Because it's a more actual movie. The second one's the end of an era, and so it has a different framing structure. This one, I think, is just a solid movie.
Mm-hmm. This is like isn't this like the third Avengers movie? Because there's the first Avengers, then there was Age of Ultron, then this one, and then Endgame is the fourth.
Yes, although I consider Civil War Avengers 2.5 because it's it's basically two. Yeah, but yes, it's only Avengers 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Do you have to leave for a second, Stuart? I can vamp if you have to go for a second.
Yeah, if you could,
That's
I just want to check on something here. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so my history with Marvel, when I was young, comic books weren't really a thing. Just didn't happen to be. We never had much excess money growing up, so buying things like that wasn't really a thing. Obviously, TV and movie, and then Iron Man 1 comes out. I didn't see the original Hulk movies. They didn't necessarily appeal to me. Didn't see the original Batmans because they were too old when I was younger, and so probably one of the first superhero films I actually saw was Iron Man. And obviously, for me, it was just a film. It was just a single identity film. And then after you see that, and the internet gets is around and everyone uses it, you then learn about this part of this grander universe. And then as the thing goes on, I've watched it very much as you're meant to, in the sense of start from the start, all in the cinema. I've only missed out the Ant-Mans in the cinema, both by accident. It's doable. It's doable. And so yeah, I watched it the correct way, the slow way, and it got us to Infinity War. And I'm glad they changed the name of Infinity War 2 to be something else, because we all know how Part 1, Part 2s aren't the best in terms of naming. But yeah, so I led up to it and I really enjoyed it. And Polish Gamer again, awesome, £5. I should have phrased it better. There were too many people constantly talking about it before release. Too many videos, articles, theories, etc. Yes. Well, I avoided them. It's like Game of Thrones. I just kind of chose to avoid them.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hello. I'll just give my background and read out the super chat. But again, Polish Gamer.
Let's see.
But I avoided that.
Yeah.
With Endgame, obviously everyone avoided spoilers in Endgame, and that was really great. So I went in completely unknowing. I only saw one trailer. So in Infinity War, I only watched the first trailer because like you know you're gonna see it, but I want to be excited. So I saw one, but I had no need to see more. You know, it kind of. Although obviously they do lie, which was good. See, I'm not against lying in trailers, because if you need to hide certain major plot reveals, invent 3 shots that don't exist. Why not? Why not? It's fine.
Well,
like, it was
no,
intentional.
that kind of bugs me.
But it was an intentional thing, whereas like Rogue One is like, shit, we have to reshoot half the film. But that was very much like we'll just because they in the Endgame trailer they removed like Hulk and they removed Thor to keep them from being reveals. So that's just, you know, it's the same thing, but it's also lying. So it's that sort of manipulation I'm fine with.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I did have a really good point. Damn it.
Oh.
I just lost it. Oh, man. Sorry. It was something like I was building on something you said, too. The hype for the movie, yeah. It's funny because before I even saw it, I had it in my mind that Tony Stark was probably going to die in this one.
Me too.
Yep. So that, and luckily I didn't get anything spoiled for me before I saw it, which was odd because I have to be on Facebook. I have to do the social media stuff, and I finally went and saw it, and then literally like the next day I saw like my first spoiler, and it's like, oh, thank God I went.
Endgame, it was literally as I came back from the cinema, I scroll and it's like dum dum dum, like that's thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the problem with social media right now, unfortunately, with big movies like this. Usually I don't care about spoilers, honestly. As a spoiler, whatever, it's like, nah, it doesn't decrease my enjoyment of the movie, because you still have to see how things get to that point, the progression. So it's not really spoiling it for me. But this one I really didn't want anything. This is one of the few instances where I kind of wanted to be surprised. And was I surprised? I mean, overall,
as in this one.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm kind of talking about Endgame. Sorry.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I was like, are you going into territory there of the other thing?
Yeah, no, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yes.
No, but I remember watching this one and at the end just going, really, they did that. They just, people are gone now. And it was such a bummer, such a weird note to end on in the theater. People were upset. It was kind of quiet.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I didn't know anything about Captain Marvel.
No, me
so
either.
The whole end scene, I was like, what's that symbol? Was that Wonder Woman? I mean,
crossover.
But I didn't know what that was, and I had to do some research and found out, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Haven't seen her in any movies so far, so how's this going to play out? Like, how long are we going to have to wait for the next movie? Because we got to introduce her now.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter anyway. Didn't end up really mattering that much. Yeah.
True. But...
see, it's funny, the end of also skipping right to the end there, I'll give a little shout, but Infinity War for the end, I almost like applauded internally, because the balls on them, you don't expect the villain to win. That never happens. And so it was so refreshing as like a, oh. Huh.
Yeah.
Damn, good. Like, it was refreshing, because everyone assumes always the heroes win. No idea what the second film's going to be. Oh, Thanos has to run away. Comes back even stronger. No, he wins. Cool. End of movie. Like, he done. End of story. It's like, oh. So I thought it was really refreshing, actually, when I watched it. And sad, but, you know, powerful. Obviously intentionally powerful. And I think if that was spoiled, that would be a shame. You know? But now, I mean, you can't not. I mean, there's so many memes of that. And it's one of those things that no one will ever have that same impact like we had in the cinema.
Yeah.
It's like Darth Vader's Luke's father, or you know that once that's spoiled, you can never watch those films with the same reveal, knowing the end.
Yeah.
Only works once, and for us. So I'm glad I was in that and had that impact.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get to the next super chat, actually, I just wanted to talk about one thing that can really confuse me the first time around with well, not going to confuse me, but was Thanos' whole motivation. Like now, I mean, after the first watch, I was like, but now watching a few times, I do understand that, you know, because of the way he was raised on his planet and what his planet had to go through, they even make a point of saying that his goal is just to make life easier for everyone by, you know, just cutting the population in half. He used to do it by mass murder, going to a planet and just massacring half the population. So the Infinity Stones are just the easiest way to do that. And the best villains are the ones that think they're doing, you know, things for the right reasons. And that really pays off in this case because he does have good intentions, sort of. But it's such a weird motivation for a villain to have for me. I didn't quite follow it, and I didn't quite understand it the first watch or two. It just seemed like such a silly thing. He didn't want to rule the galaxy. He just wanted to help out with resources and say, you know, have as many mouths to feed. People won't be struggling. It's like, it's not the right thing to do, but he's for the good, for all the good reasons, right? So I don't know.
Read out the super chats and I'll respond to that because we've got some more support which we need. So keep supporting, guys. Thank you.
Tony Sussex, $4.99.
Tony.
Hey guys, I enjoyed Endgame. Only problem, wasn't sure what Thanos' power level was supposed to be. He seemed just as strong without the Infinity. Exactly. That's one of the things I'm going to call out tomorrow when we talk about it.
Just remember though that in Endgame, those who fight him are heavily out of practice Iron Man, fat Thor that can't fight anymore, and Captain America that's rusty versus in his prime Thanos. So they weren't in their prime.
Yeah, it's a 9-year younger Thanos. Yeah.
So I'm not like, it actually makes sense when you think about it like that. Whereas in the first version, everyone's at their peak.
It makes sense, but at the same time, he's too overpowered in my opinion. That's one of the main gripes I have about that whole sequence.
Yeah.
But
as someone said that, I'm like, oh, okay, there is some rationale behind, you know, how it's a different fight.
Yeah. And Polish Gamer puts in £4 or £5. Thank you very much. In regards to Captain Marvel, she feels like she's only there to build hype and increase the weight for Endgame. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. But I think she was in Endgame just enough.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No more.
I have no complaints. I have no complaints about that.
Yeah. So in terms of Thanos' plan, I mean, as other people pointed out, Infinity War is his movie. It's his origin story. He's the primary hero, not hero, but he's the character, which is why he works well, because you understand that he's not doing it out of malice, which is different to most of the other villains.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you know, it's the hardest thing for the person that knows he has to do it, doesn't want to do it, but I'm the only one strong enough to kill 1 billion trillion people, but it's been saving another 1 billion trillion. So he's doing it for sort of obviously right reasons, wrong way. Although it is also painless, so it's kind of like the best way of the worst case.
Mm.
Although, as other people pointed out, that if you're killing 3 billion people on Earth, all those 3 billion people in the 1910s or 1820s, it's only about 100 years. So it only take less than 100 years to build up to. So you have to kill another 3 billion in 100 years. So it's not, you know, it doesn't quite equate to everyone being healthier.
Yeah. And you got to think, too, that, I mean, you kill half the people, but some of those guys are pilots with planes full of hundreds of people that those people just died now. They didn't get wiped out of existence. Well, yeah. they didn't get wiped out of existence. They died, which means they aren't coming back necessarily.
It's true. Yeah.
And like, and the damage that would cause on the ground, and what somebody brought up something interesting on Twitter. I think it was actually Lore Reloaded, just today. What happened if a mother gets winked out of existence, but not her unborn baby? That's in. It's like, wow, that's just kind of. I think you would think they'd be the same.
Yeah, I think that would count as one person. But I mean, we know that our planet can sustain everyone. It has enough space, enough food production, enough people to do the food production. Just it's not spread out equally. The rich do things that aren't too good. The poor aren't given the. It's not balanced correctly. So if you killed half the population, well, now suddenly it's easy to feed everyone. The difference being, as you said, if you're killing half the people, okay, you'll kill half the rich people, half the poor people. So now, I mean, they saw in Endgame, but in Endgame you see the state of America, some parts of America, and it's a wasteland. Because what if because it's random, the entire cleaning staff of that stadium died. So that's it. Yeah. I mean, what if accidentally, just because of chance, 99% of all ticket people, or police officers are gone. Like it's not literally 50-50. And so you need those lower end service workers to allow the big companies to work to make the cool tech that everyone benefits from. So if just same thing, if you gave a higher up in Samsung or a Apple employee, put him in a forest and said, right, all of your food producers are dead. He's like, I can make iPhones, I can't make food. And that's not my job in the world. And suddenly if you lose maybe 60% of all the food people, but then that said though, easy to counter that is that surely in this future, it's obviously not our world. We know aliens exist. Tony Stark has all this advanced tech. I mean, Wakanda's sharing tech. I mean, I'm sure making food in the Marvel universe is easy because you have unlimited power, unlimited. It's more advanced than now, so it's not going to be the same in terms of where we can barely feed the world. It's like, no, there's unlimited power. There's unlimited. Is it better to have less people? I mean, people seem sad, but what if in 50 years that's better because everyone's easier to live?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and bringing them all back opens up a whole bunch of questions too, which I think we should talk about tomorrow probably.
Yes, that's the tomorrow. That's well, we know they don't come back.
Well, I had a major thing right away when they came back, but like I said, I'll talk about it tomorrow. Fleet Pass Whipback puts in $4.99. Gotta go, but I'll ask, who was your favorite Spider-Man? Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, or the dude from Amazing Spider-Man? Don't recall his name. Something Garfield, I think. Andrew Garfield, yes. Andrew Garfield was really good, but I think Tom Holland is definitely the best one. He's got the age right for Spider-Man. Oh, yeah. He's got that naivety. I can't say
naivety.
You said it last time.
Naivety /
there
naivete.
It is, thank you.
That's how fancy you want to be.
Naivety.
Well, this is one of the arguments that people, obviously you have your own thoughts, then people can express them better than you've thought them yourself. And Spider-Man is just like Batman. There's two characters. There's Batman and Spider-Man, and there's Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker. They're different sides of a coin. They're not the same person. Iron Man's kind of one and the same. That's one of the unique things. He is the same guy, So, and I agree that the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, was a better Peter Parker, but Garfield's a better Spider-Man. One got the nervous angst, whereas Garfield was hot and handsome. It's like how are you a nerd in school? It's like doesn't quite connect. The first one was, but then you've got Tom Holland, the new one, and he just gets them all. It's amazing actually how pitch perfect he is. So yeah, hands down. But I think Homecoming is just an amazing movie and good job to skip the origin. And if Sony's smart, then give us, I'm sure he'll want to keep doing the role for a while. But given that there was that PS4 Spider-Man game that everyone loved, and it skipped all of the basics that you think of Spider-Man, all the way up until him and Mary Jane already had a relationship and failed, like really passed. How great would it to see this actor grow up with the part and be able to go from the young version to the teen, like he's already teen, but late teen, relationship teen, post-teen, early 20s and then mid-20s, like have these different eras of his life, which there are different sides to Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and actually if he can play the role for 10 years even, you'd see that because no one started that young before as an Avenger. I think it'd be good to see because he's got the chops.
Yeah. And that's interesting you brought that up too, because I just finally watched Into the Spider-Verse
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I want
on
to.
the plane from
Oh,
Vancouver, and you get different aspects of Peter Parker's,
right.
and it's really well done. So
Yes.
you'll enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, I just need to buy the 4K. That's literally what I was waiting for because I missed
Yeah,
it in the cinema. I was meaning to get it. I just couldn't. Let me see how much the 4K is now. Might have to just get it live on screen.
yeah. Joseph Petrick puts in €2 and says, "How about doubling resources with the magic glove?" Well, all of a sudden there would be extra resources crushing people. I don't know. I don't think that would work quite that way. It's a good question, but no, I don't know. I don't think it's not as elegant an answer as just getting rid of half the people.
Yeah, and also, I mean, yeah, I think that the simplicity is what's important there. But
Yeah.
the glove, the reality stone can change reality, but is it actually changing reality or is it just changing perspective of reality? So that couldn't create food. The time stone, I mean, what, I guess you could grow food? That would be kind of cool. But then what, you have to sit there and grow 10 fields on one planet at a time? That's not going to help much, is it? The time, again, we'll go back in time and get resources from the past. That doesn't work either. The space stone, again, what, is going to transport a ship of food at a time? There is, what I mean? That's the point. The glove is universal because they are all of reality. Well, I guess if you logically, he could make a planet of crops and then move the entire planet forward 100 years, and then I guess you could kind of extrapolate, but it wouldn't be as clinically effective, I guess.
Yeah, because not every planet would have access to that planet's resources.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know. I still see issues with the motivation of the whole deal, but anyway.
But it's I think it's still quite compelling, and we've seen, I'm killing you for the good of the good. But I still think it's one of the better presented versions, even if it has some small base flaws. He's probably one of the better. I mean, Loki's good because he's an anti-hero. He's not necessarily a villain. But are there any better villains than Thanos in the MCU? Exactly. They're all levels of fine. I think he's pretty strong in the in the verse. I'll go back to the verse.
Tom Zaros 48 puts in $5 Canadian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love boys, but Thanos' plan would need to be redone periodically to keep the resource levels safe once every generation. Cheers, guys. Yeah, we kind of mentioned that already.
Although, I mean, if the thing is, without changing the way the universe is, without telling everyone, guys, don't overpopulate, I'll just have to do it again, and your kids might die, it'll just happen again. But he would actually have to get the universe to be better after it, otherwise just killing every few years, as he says.
Yeah. Well. Polish Gamer puts in £5.
Thank you.
If Thanos can alter reality with the Infinity Stones, can't he just make it so many people treat each other better and have more resources? You'd think.
I think it's just showing reality. I don't think it actually changes reality. Because as soon as Thanos left, the guy with the knife, the says everything literally guy, he went from being
Drax.
he went from this scrambled person back to himself. So as soon as he left, his effects were undone. So I don't think it's. I'm sure you could maybe make something permanent, but it implied it wasn't actually doing it.
It could just be that happened because it was just that stone causing that effect. But when they all get together, he could maybe maintain it even if he disappeared.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bradley Briggs does say Darkseid was way better and a more powerful villain. Darkseid. Darkseid was in DC though.
Oh, awful. No, sir, no. Please give me why you think that isn't a super chat. No. Okay, so what do you think of the film Infinity War then in general, as an overall, like the blurb review, the Stuart-based review?
Ooh, it was a great bringing together of all of the previous films and characters, and the way they work together yet in separate areas. Tony and them on the planet, and the other ones on Earth.
Yep.
I thought it was really well done. Everybody got their time to shine, kind of thing. There were a few like common sense kind of why'd you do that? Like Scarlet Witch, why was she hanging out with
Vision?
what's his name? Vision, while he's getting his operation. Well, I know, but then she finally goes out on the field. She could have been making a huge difference. She's one of the most powerful of all of them.
Yeah.
And she finally goes out, and the one Wakandan lady's like, why has she not been here the whole time?
Because plot.
Yeah, and as soon as she leaves, of course, then they infiltrate the operation room, and it would have been helpful if she was there, but anyway.
Well, that's the problem, though. I mean, why is Bucky a dude with a machine gun and an arm, but like he's killed instantly? You know what I mean?
He's more powerful than Black Widow. I mean, she's just useless. She's just a human, literally. She's got nothing going for her. He's got the arm, at least.
Well, yes. You know? Okay, that's one level down, and then you have the witch that. Yeah. But that's the thing though. It's luckily I think there's an emotional reason why everyone who's in the fight is in the fight or not in the fight. Almost they had to give Vision and Scarlet Witch a love story so that she was distracted enough not to fight properly, because you couldn't just have them all in the same fight. Even in Endgame, the fight is sort of not realized necessarily in its fullest, because it can't be, one thing that someone said is that why doesn't Doctor Strange just teleport Thanos' arm away? If they do it to one of the other villains, I mean, it's that easy, it's dead. And then he said that Thanos is a god. That's part of his persona. He's an eternal. He's lived a billion years. His skin is impervious to that sort of magic. It's like, oh, okay. So there are reasons why some of the uber powerful people can't do certain things. You think, oh well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Polish Gamer puts in 2 pounds and says, "How dare you, Samuel? Darkseid is awesome."
No, in the movie he wasn't.
That's true.
It's a character maybe, but
yeah. Jeff Jacobs, $5. I really wanted Captain America to say I could do this all day.
Yeah.
One more time at the end when he was temporarily the only one left. Make me pay it 75 likes. I think you're talking about Endgame, which will be tomorrow, Jeff, but yeah. There's definitely a lot to talk about with Endgame. It'll be a much better conversation, I think. That being said, this one was really good. Like I said, I like the character interactions. I like Tony Stark first meeting Doctor Strange. I thought that was great. They missed a beat though, because both of them have played Sherlock Holmes. So there should have been at least one line where somebody said, "No shit, Sherlock." That would have just been
good.
The cream on. They could have done it with that conversation, the way that it played out. It definitely could have been in there. But I liked their interactions. I thought that was fantastic.
It felt, most of the new duos felt so organic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, effortless. Same thing with him and Star-Lord and Thor. Just effortless. It's like you never knew you wanted that until you saw it. It's like, oh damn, it's good.
And the one thing that frustrated me I remember when I first saw this was no Hulk. The Hulk wouldn't come out, even though he tried, and Hulk would just yell no and then disappear. And, you green asshole. That frustrated me, because I'm like, the Hulk could have definitely made an impact or 2 or 3, get it, during the course of this movie. And I thought it was played really odd the way they did it. They make up for it, of course, in Endgame, but it's just, I know he just come off Thor Ragnarok where he was Hulk the entire time. It was really frustrating for me, because you wanted to see him Hulk out and just he can smash a few people, then stop being the Hulk.
Well, the Hulk's a tricky character though, because on one side it's a mindless beaty-uppy machine, the other side is a scientist that's very smart. And in the start of Infinity War, obviously, you have the Hulk-Thanos fight, which you don't expect to happen 27 seconds in. And it sets up for the audience, it's like, ooh, the Hulk's very... Oh, no, he's beaten. Shit. Like, it sets up instantly how powerful he is. And obviously, the Hulk's never been beaten that to the inch of his life by anybody. And so you can imagine that ultimate power is beaten, so he wants to stay hidden. I think that's what I got from it. He wants to stay hidden because he's the first time ever been beaten truly. Like, if he can't do it, and he's him, maybe Banner's the only better solution here. Like, what's the point in going out and fighting if Thanos just shows up and beats me? Like, it's not going to be different. And every time he gets a new stone, he's even more powerful. That was without any stones, pretty much. He just punched him, So his Hulk level power at the minimum. So then, when put in that perspective, could Hulk take on Captain America, in the next film? Like, would that fight, if you swapped out Thanos for Hulk, could you see Hulk being able to beat all three of them? Without any special armor? Because none of them use any special technique. It was all just classic Iron Man, classic Hulk, and electric Thor.
So you're asking if replace Thanos with the Hulk,
in that
if
final
he would
battle,
be able to?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Because that's one of the final battle in the next one really pisses me off. It's too, Thanos is too strong.
But he's a minimum Hulk level. That's the thing. If he's Hulk level, then you buy it, surely, because the three of them vanilla take out Hulk.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Possibly. I don't
know. Yeah. Jeff Jacobs puts in $3. Paying for my mistake, and now I will pay it 60 likes. All right. Well, thank you, Jeff.
Click that like button.
Yeah, I'm kind of only have 56 people here, unfortunately, which is a shame. But
hopefully some more will pop in over the next bit.
Yeah. And one thing that interests me after having seen Endgame was Loki in the beginning of this movie, where he hands over the Tesseract. Because in Endgame, they kind of screw up the timeline a little bit, and he takes the Tesseract and disappears.
Yeah.
So it could be that this is a different Tesseract or a different Loki, and there's still another Loki floating around somewhere.
Well, it depends if he can cross dimensions, because that's in a parallel universe. So if he can parallel into ours, but he's got a space stone.
Exactly.
But I heard there's a Loki TV show in the works, so that's why he's alive.
Yeah. And I've heard there's a Falcon and Geek show in the works.
Yeah. As
well, and a Black Widow show.
Movie. That one's a movie.
Is it a movie?
That one's a movie. Prequel movie.
But prequel.
Well, obviously prequel. But I really enjoy the first Infinity War. Starting as we end Thor Ragnarok balls. We just saved most of they're dead. Shit. We kill half the Asgardians instantly, and it's brutal. I mean, the tone out of the gate is dark. We're not. It sets up Thanos being a serious character, which, like I say, I've praised the film heavily for. He's not just a villain; he's a character, if not the main character. But it sets real pace. Loki being killed, obviously they knew what we were going to do with him in the second film, fine, but he's actually dead. Our Loki, our Gamora's actually dead. You can't bring that version back. That's out of the history. And then it just sort of goes nice and then escalates. But it is kind of multiple movies, Infinity War, really, as you said a bit earlier on. The only way they can make it work is by having the Guardians movie and the Earth movie and the... You know what I mean? It's kind of like separate movies, because you can't literally have more than one scene. It's not fair on anybody, but you can have a Guardian, Spider-Man, and Iron Man sub-movie, you have a Thor Guardian spin-off movie, and then you have a... It's like, sure. And it works, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not convinced?
Yeah. I am, but... I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this one, but after seeing Endgame, it's not as good as Endgame in my opinion. It is a perfect lead up to it.
Interesting. That's the opposite of what I said earlier. Ooh.
Well, you like this one better than Endgame?
Yeah, I think so.
Why is that though?
Well, because it's a better standalone film with a more clear plot, more easy to follow, but just in the sense that you just enjoy the ride. Endgame is like a stop and not in a bad way, just a stop and start, changes the plot, does a thing, does another thing, back to the present, has a battle, end. This one's like very nice, progressive storylines, all getting to a point you don't see coming. It's very focused. The next one's not focused pretty much at all. But it's a
Well,
celebration of the franchise. It doesn't need to be. But this one's really focused, you know? Why do you
yeah.
like the second
Plus,
one more then?
well, as you know, I love time travel stories. I love alternate realities. I love things like that. So I thought I thought it was just a lot better. It was obviously a more triumphant ending. Um, but I think we'll talk more about that tomorrow. I don't want to give too much away today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, also, you gotta take in account what you said, how you thought this one was better than Endgame, and the reasons you said. You got to think that Endgame had to squeeze a lot in, and it still was 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been multiple movies easily. It could have been 2 movies, Endgame, which would have been frustrating, but I think it might have actually aided it a little bit. I like the fast pace of it, and I like the
Of which
of
one?
the of Endgame.
Well, after the first 50 minutes. Because that's slow as hell. I mean, after the prologue, then it's non-stop. But the prologue is very long. Not in a bad way, just that's not action-packed at all.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the flow of it.
I know, but you're saying it's non-stop action. It's like, not for the first 50 minutes. Till they get to the suits.
Till they get to the suits. Well, I'm going to disagree with you.
We'll revisit
It's not
tomorrow.
action packed. It's not action packed. It's just
Packed.
it's very watchable and fun.
Mm. So is this one though.
It is.
And again, you see some of the best pairings. Spider-Man and Iron Man are a great pairing. I mean, the first scene with Guardians and Spider and Thingy is great. You know, where is Gamora? Who is Gamora? What is Gamora? And that was a improv line. It's just like, oh my god, it's really just funny lines. And it's what I said to you before. It's just characters being characters. You don't have to force jokes. It's just put them in a room. What happens? A joke. You know, that's the sort of comedy I quite enjoy.
Okay. Polish Gamer, £5. I feel the opening of Endgame before the time skip would have been should have been in this movie. Having no stones would have made the ending sadder. Yeah, and this one was 2 hours and 32 minutes or something.
Yeah.
They could have squeezed in another scene or two. But yeah, that would have been like, oh, where are they going to go from here? Literally, like, there's nothing that. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
But that's the subversion of expectations, which I think works in these two films, unlike Last Jedi. The villain wins. Oh. Okay. And the second film, he dies. Oh. Like, that's coming off the impact of the first one into the start of the second one. You don't see it coming. You can't see it coming. And that's why it works. If you killed him in the first one, then it would have felt like a cop-out of, and we killed him. That, like every other film happens. Yes, he might have won, but they're the Avengers. They'll solve it next film. Whereas the first time round, you're like, what could you possibly do? You know, there's more questions than answers.
Yeah.
So what didn't you like about Infinity War? 'Cause you just watched it.
What didn't I like about Infinity War? That's a very good question. I actually don't know. Like I said, the first couple times I watched it, his motivation really threw me off. But the more you watch it, the more you kind of get it. And today specifically, I remember a line from Gamora saying why he's wanted to do this, because the way he was raised, and this has always kind of been his modus operandi, and that's why he was going from planet to planet, just doing mass assassinations and murder, just to do the same thing. I don't know. I don't know what I don't like about it, to be honest. It's not that there's anything really bad in it.
I've got one though.
Of course you do.
Well, what? No, I agree with you, but I'm trying to find something. You know.
Yeah.
For me, the Vision and Scarlet Witch. When I rewatched this before Endgame, like the day before, I realized I still don't give one shit about either character.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Age of Ultron pretty much at all. It's just that is the one he followed it up with. What an absolute letdown. And Scarlet Witch is like not that interesting and also overpowered but never uses it. So what's the point? And Vision is fun but never used and powerful with a stone but never uses it. So what's the point? Like there's not any point to them. And them suddenly falling in love is like, oh, obviously from the other films, but I don't care. They're not interesting characters to me. Their connection's not interesting, and so when we cut to them in Scotland, I'm like, this is the least interesting segment I could possibly imagine for this film.
You just didn't like that because it was in Scotland.
They want independence. What's wrong with them? I mean, what do you think about that comment? Because that's me personally. I don't connect to those two characters.
I totally agree with that.
Okay.
I thought that through the other movies as well, where they have this kind of relationship. It never pays off. It's never focused on enough to really for anyone to care.
Yeah. It's like F plot.
Yeah.
Each time.
Yeah. That being said, that reminds me of one of the things I didn't really like about this movie. It's a small thing. It's just a character thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, all the goodwill and whatever I had for Star-Lord just got pissed away in this movie. That one moment, I understand he's grieving, whatever, who cares? It just it really ruined it for me that he did that he screwed up the entire universe essentially because he was just being a hot-headed dick. I get it. He's upset, but I just lost all respect for that character that moment.
Okay, can I jump back then? For the context, what do you think of Guardians 1, Guardians 2, and how they are quality-wise in terms of the whole MCU? Just so I know, because I have a very certain opinion. I think it's not the majority. What do you think of those two films then? How they are attached to them?
I definitely enjoy Guardians 1 better than Guardians 2, but I think they're very good. They're the upper echelon of the Marvel films. Neither one was a disappointment. Yeah. So I really enjoy them. The character building's great in them.
That's true.
For people I didn't even know existed.
You cared.
Guardians of the Galaxy, when I first heard it, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And then I watched the movie and it's like, wow, this is really good. They did a fantastic job of bringing this to life.
Care about
those are high on my Marvel movie watch list for sure.
Yeah, I was unfortunate with Guardians 1 because at the time all I heard is it's the best Marvel film yet from every source. And so I went in thinking, ooh, I'm really excited. I'm watching it and going, yeah, this is good. It's not the best one. And so I've got this massive expectation and it's not remotely reached. If I didn't think that, like with Endgame and Infinity War, didn't go in thinking beyond I'm going to enjoy it, I think I would liked it more. But that first impression, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's better than some, but it's not the best one. So I was that kind of weird impression. And then number 2, I actually didn't see it in the cinema. I watched it at home. And I thought it was a weird sequel choice with a lot of weird choices inside of it. I liked some of it, didn't like some of it else. But you're right, the character stuff's always good. They get that, like, just right. But the story, I think, was lackluster. But I think now seeing these two films, they wanted to get past Star-Lord's big origin. Like, and it doesn't matter. We'll do it. It's done. He's more interesting now as just a guy. Like, that's his big thing, is who he is, not being half god. We're just gonna finish it. We don't need that in our films. So I think that was kind of like a means to an end. Because imagine if you had god powers in Infinity War or Endgame, it'd be very different. So for me, I liked him a lot.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say I was watching a video last night on YouTube talking about Endgame and how basically all the characters in the MCU are set up that they have daddy issues. And it talks about how bad of a father Thanos is and how he treated his daughters and how much you can't, even though sometimes you sympathize with the character, you're not meant to because of the way he's treated his daughters. I mean, he's cruel essentially.
Yeah.
And it was just a great with the daddy issue thing. So yeah, you're bringing up the fact in number 2, his dad. It's
all about the dad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I
don't know what to say.
Well, I mean, all of superheroes seems to be revolved around parental issues. I mean, obviously Batman, defined by it.
Yeah.
Iron Man still defined. I mean, okay. Slight note on Endgame, but glorious dad issues done in that with Stark. But Infinity War, yeah. So I liked everything with the Guardians. You're right until that moment with Quinn, because I was blown away they could do what they were doing. I was like, I mean, but this is what you want. This is a focused fight with heroes that we care about. None of them really should be able to do this, but they're a genuine strategy. The writers had to say, shit, how do we do this? Let's think it through. Well, I don't quite buy Mantis could hold his mind. She's just this woman. Like, she's not represented, as I remembered in the second film, as like a specialist. That's just her race can do this. So I don't think she's not the best one. She's not a super. She's just sort of there. So I thought that was a bit unbelievable for me.
That being said, she did say, please hurry. He's very strong. Like, she was trying her hardest.
Yeah. But it still felt, if it's working at all, then she can do it at all. But yeah, certainly when Quinn, like I say, have him wait a minute and then shoot him. Yeah, Chris Pratt ruins the galaxy universe. Yeah, it's on him. I mean, no one else can be blamed except him in that moment. I mean, it's just, and isn't it then weird that, would you have preferred it to not ruin his character, if he'd felt guilty for the rest of the films? Obviously, he's not in Guardians of Endgame because he's dead, but if the vibe was at the end, obviously, but if the vibe was him was guilt. But for me, I felt like it rolled right off him. Like, he didn't even think that because of him. Like, do you know what I mean? Would that be better if he actually felt guilt at his actions? Or
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, me too.
That's what I expected to see, something like that in Endgame, and it wasn't there. People are saying, well, maybe he can be redeemed later in like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I don't know. My opinion of that character now is just so shot.
I just think it was a means to an end moment. It was like, what makes sense here? So for me, I think it's such an irrelevant point that the character will not be affected at all because he can't be. Like, it's a thing he did, move on. It's like, okay, doesn't affect him, but okay, sure.
Well, I really liked this character. I enjoyed him quite a bit until that moment, and then it's like, wow, that was so disappointing. It was such a letdown. That's just me.
Would have been better if Thanos just got over the lady, like him talking to Thanos for those extra 20 seconds is what allowed him to get over it. So just because then it would be his fault, but he wouldn't know that it was his fault. Like, oops, I talked too long, rather than I punched you and then I mean, that would have been a much smarter way of doing it, I think.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $2. Thanos being written as omnipotent and Quill's deal are the two things that he hates.
Yeah, Quill. I mean, but Thanos is the baddie. Out of everyone, he's allowed to be powerful, and he's planned this for God knows how many years, and most of them actually seen. So yeah, I'm fine with him being the one that is good, that knows everything.
Yeah. I kind of agree that he was too overpowered in both films, but at the same time, you got to think of the build-up that he's had over the course of the movies. Just from a end credit sequence to this major character. So I think it paid off that way, as him being a force to be reckoned with. But it I don't know. The fight in Endgame just really pissed me off. He was just too overpowered, in my opinion. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. Unpopular opinion: Guardians of the Galaxy are mediocre to me.
I need to rewatch the first one. I really do. I have such a context on it. But, yeah. I mean, they're definitely better than some. Like, I think Guardians 1 is definitely better than, like, Captain Marvel or Captain America 1 or Thor 1 or Iron Man 3. Like, it's definitely the top half. I need to rewatch it. It's been a while. So I remember loving the escape from the prison. Like, I love all that stuff. And it's very well thought out,
Yeah. No, it was a very enjoyable movie for me. I think it might have been because I didn't know anything about the characters, so I had no expectations of the characters going into it, so they could just build on that. There's no framework in my mind for what to expect, so I think it worked out really well. Yeah, I really enjoy the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, mainly because of the soundtrack too. The soundtracks are good. You can't deny that.
The thing is, for me, it's music. It's not era nostalgic. It's just, oh yeah, that song. Like, that doesn't. I'd rather have really like Inception, Interstellar. Though the actual soundtrack, the music is so astoundingly good that, and same with Dark Knight, that gets me more than just, oh, it's from the 80s. Does it fit the scene? Yeah. Like for me, I haven't got the same nostalgia feel for almost any music because that's not how I associate music.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because Sylvia's mom, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are one of her favorites because she likes the 70s music.
That for me feels weird that you love a film just because music you can hear at any time in your life. Like that's weird to me, you know. Just like
not everybody's like you.
No, I know. Very few people are. I'm unique. What? What'd you say?
Sure.
Did you just insult me?
I didn't say I didn't say thank God.
There's no doubt I was making a gesture. I think you just insulted me.
No. Agreed. Guardians of the Galaxy goes strong out of the gate with some characters that many people weren't familiar with. Chris Pratt is a blockbuster maker. No one else could have done that. I wouldn't say no one else could have done it, but he was definitely a great choice. And the whole cast is fantastic. To get me to care about a franchise or a comic book that's existed for how long that I didn't even I never heard of.
Wow.
That's impressive because usually I have a preconceived notion in my mind like, oh, if it's been out that long, it must be crap. But I just went with the flow and enjoyed it, and I really love it now. I still haven't read any of the comics, mind. I haven't gone back to revisit the comics because I don't care. But no, I think they did a fantastic job with that.
And also shows how much better Zoe Saldana is. I mean, you think of her as a hero and you think, she's there. She's there. I like her in Avatar. I think she's a great Avatar, but that's a very different style of performance. But it's like, she's great. But I do love that she's, black, green, and blue. she's a very coloured person. She's put all these, it's just fun that she's very distinct colour palette.
Yeah. Hold on a second here.
Oh yeah, I'll vamp more. I remember thinking, I think with most of the fan base, that after Black Panther, which was pretty good and definitely better characters, I think, than film, but that's a different thing. They killed Black Panther, ballsy. That's fine. But they actually said, the directors, they said that they had mapped out who they were gonna dust early on because it's about the journey of the survivors in the second film. Whereas a lot of people would say, oh, if the new Black Panther would be a smash hit, they would have let him live. But it didn't. It wouldn't have factored in the same way. It's very intentional. And now that you watch it back, you're like, well, yeah, that is the core Avengers, with a couple of the buddy cop nature. I'm kind of surprised Rocket survived. But hey. Rocket's fun. Guys, what do you guys think? Let me know about maybe things you don't like as much about Infinity War in a super chat, and I will read it out. Let us know. Because we're doing these lives to help support the channel after the wonderful end of Discovery. We had a week off, and we saw our YouTube revenue pretty much plummet to the ground. So a bit of a shock, but we're hoping to do these lives, try and generate a bit of the income back again to be able to pay all of our rent for next month. So hey, if you get 50 more bucks by the end of it, that'd be cool. But thanks for everyone so far, and obviously thank you for Polish Gamers doing so much to support the channel. Amazing. Yes. No, thank you. I know, what do you guys want me to talk about before Stuart comes back in about the about film? Any specific questions? Oh no, he's back. Okay, I guess not so much.
I heard he's back, so I guess not so much. What's going on?
Oh, has anyone asked me specific questions about the film? I was like, nope, not so much, because he's back.
I think you can still ask him specific questions. I just don't know what to say. I mean, I just watched the film. I enjoyed it. There's not much I didn't hate about it, if anything.
Just saw it, Stuart. Your mind's bristling with thoughts.
You'd think.
You would think.
But this is my brain we're talking about.
Yes. No, I think it's a film that does everyone justice pretty much, apart from maybe Pratt. It's a really now in comparison to Endgame, you realize how much of an uplifting, like, we can embrace the fun factor. A lot more daft lines, a lot more interaction, because you have them. In the second film, you've only got like a fourth of the cast. You can't have interactions. You've got to have just these certain people. And I'm sorry, but seeing Clint and Natasha isn't the same as seeing like Iron Man and Doctor Strange. It's like this is people chatting. These are superheroes being funny. Like it's a bit of a different context.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I don't really enjoy about the Marvel universe, to be fair. The Marvel universe is more grounded in reality, I guess, because you got Hawkeye, you've got Black Widow, who are just regular people.
I mean,
how they're not dead?
Exceptional regular people, but yeah, regular people.
Yes. How they're not dead, I don't know, because she should really be dead after all this shit she's gone through. But like I said at the beginning of this, I've always been more of a DC fan growing up. You know, all those people had powers except for Batman, but even he had a bunch of cool gadgets. So the fact that the DC franchise is just, I mean, DC knows how to make animated movies. They know how to make TV shows.
Yeah.
They know how to make TV shows, but when it comes to big blockbusters, no, not so much.
And the best one is Dark Knight, and that wasn't a superhero film.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a guy versus a guy in a gritty real film. That's it.
Yeah.
It wasn't superheroes. And it was, but mostly because of perfect script, perfect acting. You know, it's different things. I mean, I enjoyed Wonder Woman. I thought that was a good movie. Although I agree that it's a bit underwhelming in the sense that you know how it's going to turn out, and the whole film's literally a flashback. Is a weird, wasn't quite the respect it needed. And then Justice League is better than BVS, which is bad. But
wow, BVS had its moments. I enjoyed quite a bit of that. It was just basically the Dark Knight, the graphic novel brought to the screen, which I loved.
Yeah, I'll agree moments, but in terms of overall story was bad. But certain moments
didn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, that also movie was very filled with subplot moments. Yeah.
Well, character motivations in that movie were very not making sense.
They didn't try. And then in Avengers, they changed all the motivations again. I mean, not Avengers. In Justice League, they changed them all again. Batman, radically different between the two films. He goes from the guy that was a kill Superman to the team leader of everyone. I work alone. Let's make a team, and I'll be friendly and make jokes to everyone. It's like, no, this is not how you set him up. You're messing around now. What do you think of Aquaman when you finally saw Aquaman?
Oh, Jesus.
Really? Oh.
It's a 3D spectacle, I'll say that. I've only seen it once. And I remember not being impressed with the story. It seemed way too long for what it was, first of all. And I still don't know a lot of the characters. Like, I need to go back and rewatch it. I really do. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, but it didn't make much sense to me. So, that being said, I love Jason Momoa. He's a good actor. He's good in Aquaman, but kind of a waste of potential.
I think it was better than Justice League and BVS.
Really?
Yes. Where would you place the four then? Out of Wonder Woman, Justice League, BVS, and Aquaman. Where would you put the order? Top to worst.
As far as what other people would think, or want to watch them.
No, you prefer them out of those four. What's your favorite order of those four? How are they ranked?
Well, I'm going to get lambasted for it because it's my personal preference for what I'd want to watch.
That's why I'm asking
which is Justice League.
Okay.
Batman v Superman.
Okay.
Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Okay.
I know Wonder Woman's a far superior film. It's structured much better. It's got a coherent plot.
Yes.
And it is a fantastic film. But I really enjoyed a lot of moments from Batman v Superman. If you watch the director's cut,
I've yet to do that. I'll be fair.
Makes a lot more sense. And it's a lot better film that way. It still has issues, of course, but I just love the spectacle of seeing Batman and Superman, an older Batman for that matter, being on screen. I thought that was fantastic. So, and as for Justice League, I really enjoyed a lot of the elements of Justice League. The Steppenwolf, the villain, was kind of a letdown though, both visually and just he was just dumb, and the ending was very much not satisfactory. However, there were still a lot of really great moments in Justice League. I love seeing the team come together and their interactions with each other was great. So I realize that the framework of the story that it's around is not fantastic.
But it's just like Discovery in general, missed opportunity. You know, like you say, you get these people together for the first time, and while the fun factor is fun, it's like that's the way you took it, of all the ways. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, not an insult to you, obviously, but I mean, you could write a better Batman and Superman film, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I think, and I've watched a panel with him since, that the intent was actually to get to the flash forward with evil Superman. That was actually like 6 films in was his intent, and so that was it was a pebble in the ocean of that film. Whereas then they completely changed the second film that then makes the first Justice League, which then makes BVS's stuff pretty much pointless. All the setup is then destroyed because it literally is no longer setting anything up, so it's now a wasted opportunity. But if it had been part of a 6-film narrative, you probably would have made more sense. But then you shouldn't need 6 films to make the first one good.
No.
Like, that's a really bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, if you have to watch an online short or read a comic book to make sense of your film, you made a bad film.
Star Trek 09!
I didn't want to say it, but he's Polish Gamer. Thank you for breaking this up. Puts it £5. I feel a lot of DCEU movies get overhated. I won't pretend they're as good as MCU, but they're still fun. Shazam is awesome, and it's the best one in my opinion. And I agree with everything you just said, except I have not seen Shazam yet. That is one I need to see. I'm sure I'll really enjoy it. Based on the trailer, it looks really fun and really good. But I've been fooled before. But I really like it. I agree. They do get a lot of, it's a DC film, it's going to be bad. And people go into it with that mentality. And it seems like no matter what they do, it's just always shit on. So
the is that the track record is genuinely not very good.
It isn't.
I mean, and when they have, I mean, I kind of like Suicide Squad, right? It's not a good movie, but I enjoyed watching it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's kind of how I feel about Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Because I didn't enjoy Suicide Squad because it felt like 2 different movies just kind of crushed together.
I just like Will Smith. Like Will Smith and Harley Quinn. It's just fun to watch them as they go. And I didn't give a shit about the villains at any point. So for me, the letdown at the end didn't matter. At no point did it matter for me. And Joker was awful, but that's just their wrong choice. But I like Will Smith. I guess I'm biased towards Will Smith. But BVS, like I say, well, I love the fight between Batman and Superman. I think that's actually a really good fight. Like the bit that the film is based on, the name.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
But it's so contrived to get to that point.
Yes.
Where it could have been other things of smart, and it wasn't.
Yeah. They made Batman and Superman look like morons with the way they were manipulated by Lex Luthor, which...
What do you think of Lex Luthor? Because that's controversial.
Samuel, I wish I had a Jolly Rancher that I could push in your mouth. Like, the hell? No, not a good Lex Luthor. I mean, a good villain, but not a Lex Luthor. You know, he...
I don't know that.
Shut up, Alexa. She's listening to me. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I didn't enjoy him as Lex Luthor. Seeing him at the end of whatever movie he was at the end of, there's potential there, but he dropped the ball in that one for me. So,
I think I share that. I've seen some Superman animated, so I have an idea of who Lex should be.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, he wasn't. He was Lex Luthor's son. That's important.
That's the cop out that they use. Yes.
So in that context, because it's also Robin's already dead. Things have already happened. This isn't Lex Luthor's son. So I'm fine with that because it's a different take on. Well, it's not even meant to be the character. So I mean, the actor's good. Although I remember he said in an interview, I don't even know what my motivation is. I just had the lines. I didn't know what I was trying to do. Like, they didn't give me things, so I just sort of went for it. And you can see there's a very moment by moment vibe with that performance. You know, but probably need an older actor, or just have a Lex, or have him be just even more motivation. I don't know. And also his plan's awful at the end. Just god awful.
Yeah.
Like, why would I create a villain that can? He doesn't know it's going to create a villain, but why would I create another mega powerful killing machine when I don't want the first one in the first place?
Yeah, lots wrong with that movie, unfortunately. But that being said, I did enjoy it. That's seeing the new Batman. Like everybody complained when they heard Ben Affleck.
Either opinion, I was like, wait and see.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. It was just funny seeing all the memes pop up when he was announced, and now everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's the best Batman!" And then now he's leaving. Well, I like him as an older Batman.
He's an older Batman, but I've only seen one of them, so he's the best older Batman.
Okay, well,
because
fine.
Christian Bale was a really bad old Batman in Batman Returns or Revenge, whichever the last one was. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, done right for that. I think the casting was on point. I mean, I like Alfred. Not quite old enough, but had a great gravitas. I just like the actor though. But that's a good choice. Batman was a good choice. Wonder Woman's a good choice. Aquaman and Flash aren't in it enough to qualify them as being in the film, really.
Henry Cavill as Superman is just amazing. I can't believe they ditched him.
The thing is, though, he's good as Superman. He's just never allowed to be Superman in any of the 3 films he's in.
He's just a whiny, dark, pouty little brat.
But when he gets to be Superman, he's got the jawline, he's got the suit, he's got the heroicness, but at no point is he actually Superman. And it's really disappointing.
Well, he's Superman a little bit in Justice League.
Yes. He was fun, you know.
Yeah.
Even Evil Him was fun. Like, he actually played... But BVS is so bad on Superman, it's absurd. Like, this shit they give that character. It's Batman's movie. It's just Batman 1 with 0.5 Superman. To me, anyway.
Yeah, and Devo77 says, "Do you bleed? You will." Batman from Batman v Superman, or Superman v Batman. It was a good line, but I liked it better in Justice League when Superman has him up in the air and he's like, "Do you bleed?" It's like, oh shit, son, he's about to get fucked up.
It's a crap setup, amazing payoff.
Yes, yeah.
Because the line is just daft, but you could have said it better. Like, rather than when he said it, he should have said it like as he was about to kill him, when he was actually powerless and he had the power over him. Would have made more sense when he did say it, rather than abstractly. You know. I don't know.
Polish Gamer puts in £5.
Crazy man.
And says, basically, the DCEU is a prime example of wasted potential. Yeah. I feel they have the better characters to pull from and haven't properly used them. 100%, I agree. They have a great... Samuel disagrees. I have a great framework to work with. And like I said, the animated DC movies are fantastically well done. And their TV shows are generally really good.
They fluctuate a bit now, but probably really good,
better than Marvel TV shows.
Yes.
So it's a weird dichotomy there. Like there's a role reversal. Unfortunately, the mega blockbusters is where it's at right now, and DC is not doing a good job. So,
and for me, character-wise, like Batman's great, but I'm not saying, I guess, normal. Like, as a concept, it's very the same. Superman is OP, and what can you do with him? Like, he's just God, and what can you do with him? And then what other character? I mean, Flash, I like the Flash as a concept, but again, he's OP by his very nature. And then Aquaman, he's only made interesting by the new one, and he's also OP in his own small way. Wonder Woman, again, she's great as a lady who has a sense of justice, but also she can't be hurt. Like, what characters are you referring to that are amazing? Because, like I say, Superman, I think, is one of the weakest. Like, he's fun to watch, but he's not in danger.
Well,
He's not necessarily interesting. Like, where's the?
I grew up being a Superman fan, so I gotta say Superman I think is fantastic.
Oh well, Lois and Clark Superman's fantastic. I saw that entire series and I thought,
Oh, good God.
making him actually more Clark than Superman actually made him relatable, and it like that's the story that's interesting for me. What other Superman shows were there? I don't think I saw any other ones.
I just grew up loving Superman and watching the Christopher Reeve movies, and I thought it was great. And then I got into more Batman and the dark side of Batman, and just this dual personality, like the split personality of Batman, essentially. I don't know. DC, they're actually superheroes. I mean, Marvel, like I said, they're more relatable because they're more realistic. They're either mutations or, just regular people that get sucked into this kind of thing.
They more easily can lose, which makes it like battles are more interesting. Because who can beat Superman? Well, no one really.
And yet he gets beat all the time.
Well, he lets himself get beat a lot of the time. I think it's fair to say.
Okay.
Well, it's like Thor back in Avengers. Like, he is OP but doesn't know it.
That's another great thing about. We're kind of got off topic here, but Infinity War. Yeah. Endgame, we got to see an interesting Thor, but there's shades of that all throughout all the movies. And if you watch Infinity War, there's a few moments where he's kind of like not sure quite what to do.
Yeah.
I love that he's not, even though he's a god, he's not, always confident, always very realistic that way. So, where'd you go?
I was having problems with the camera. I tried to do something else, but it went off instead.
So
yes,
yeah,
certainly.
I didn't really pick up on those before, but now having seen Endgame and knowing, I mean, I've got the perfect Thor cosplay now. I got the bod full. It's interesting to see the development of that character because it's been there all along. That underlying tone of indecisiveness on his character's part, even though he is a god. It was really interesting, actually.
Because when you think of what he did in just Infinity War, his ship gets destroyed around him, and he's fully engulfed in destruction of a ship, and then in space for hours and doesn't die.
Well, he saw his brother die.
That's emotional harm, but I mean physical, like just those two things. Oh, yeah. He's now survived something absolutely incredible. None of the other ones, I mean, even Captain America, his body wouldn't survive that. So that's really powerful. Then he survives the entire power of a sun. That I thought that's OP to me. That was really like.
Yeah, what? I didn't buy that. I even said that to Sylvia today watching it. I was like, how the hell does he survive this? Seriously. It would be down to his skeleton really. Well, he's a god. I'm like, okay, fine. That's a cop-out, but whatever.
It's in the character, but that's an amazing, like, now in future films, like, you can't punch him to death. I mean, the whole thing about punching villains, it seems dumb. It's like, it's not all about punching. Stop punching people. Like, shoot with lasers is fine, just don't punch them. Lost my headphones.
Yeah. Polish Gamer just put in 2 super chats, one for £5.
Ooh, yay.
It says they're OP in isolation. Them dealing with issues of their powers and mortality, etc., is what's interesting. They do have cool fights. Then he puts in another £2 and says, in reference to DC characters. Yeah, the way they interact with each other and the way they have to deal with fitting in, I guess, are the interesting things about the DC characters. I don't know why, but yeah, as a kid, I found DC much more compelling. Now with the Marvel movies, I'm kind of been swayed that way because it is more realistic. It is more relatable. It's easier to lock onto that. And they've done such a great job with the characters. Like, 10 years ago, I didn't give a shit about Iron Man. Now I love Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And I think that's a great comment in terms of why you like them. But that's why, how many times you can deal with their morality and dealing with their powers. I mean, once you come to terms with either it's a problem in your entire life, in which case you're just repeating the same story every episode, or that's why you need villains every week in an episode of a show, because guess what? You're powerful. You win. You have someone to fight. Like So I think, as people said, Batman's interesting by his villains. You know, he's kind of a blank slate of a character. While interesting in the core, what he puts onto that is either very limited in the Batman persona and then very something else in the other persona. It's an interesting like premise, but where do you go with that? It's all up to the person who's doing its choice, you know. But it's the villains that really give him a run for his money, you know. Those juxtapositions are really interesting. I can't think of any Superman villains specifically though.
Brainiac is the one that first comes to my mind.
Is Brainiac the guy from Supergirl with the 3 dots? Is that because he's a hero?
Yeah. No, he's a villain. He's wanted to kill Superman for a long time.
It's not the same Brainiac then.
Well,
yeah, that's not the same Brainiac. That's why.
Shepard puts in 2 pounds and says Superman defeated by Kryptonite, not invincible. So there you go.
Well,
Superman's biggest villain to me never made sense. 'Cause, like I said, I really enjoyed Superman when I was a kid. His biggest villain was Lex Luthor, who was a human. It's like, how is that even sure? I mean, Lex Luthor was supposed to be this mental, you know, like genius, IQ level.
Beyond genius. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, some kryptonite suit and stuff, but still, seriously, just get a hold of him without the suit, and Superman could just literally rip him to pieces. So it always confused me as a kid, but.
And by the way, Brainiac I was thinking of is called Querl Dox, or known as Brainiac 5. He's a column, a member of the Legion, a 12th level intellect, so he's a Brainiac 5. That's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of Kryptonite, I mean, yes, Kryptonite, but I mean, how many times is he not? You know, Kryptonite is well, I mean, by that, you know, obviously the villain should just wear a Kryptonite suit or have a Kryptonite pen or have Kryptonite boxers. You know, I mean, there's by that logic, then no villain should really be able to deal with him because Kryptonite. But that's obviously not what happens.
Yeah.
And the only way Batman had a chance was using Kryptonite. The only way. As soon as he ran out, there was now, you know, no way of beating him. But yes, definitely not the same as not Infinity War talk anymore. So who do you say was Batman over Superman for you in DC, or Superman over Batman?
Now, yes. Okay. When I was a kid, I really enjoyed Superman.
So who would be your Batman of Marvel? Who's your Batman of Marvel then?
Iron Man.
Okay.
And not just for the obvious parallels, just there's too many parallels to be fair. But.
Well, who's your then? So Superman's your second favorite. Who's your second favorite Marvel character?
Gonna have to go with. See, it would have been Peter Quill until he totally let me down.
Oh, that makes me sad.
And he again is just a human, right? So.
Well, half god.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. No, it'd have to be Thor. It'd have to be Thor, I think.
Really?
I really didn't enjoy any of the Thor movies.
Yeah.
In retrospect, but now having seen Endgame and knowing that he's literally just a normal person that has issues, that can, you know, suffer from depression, that can suffer from regrets. I think that's actually great, 'cause you never see that in this kind of franchise. Never. And I'm sure he's gonna come back around at some point because he's gonna be in more movies. This wasn't his send off by any means. So I'm gonna have to say Thor.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. I think I've heard this before. But Thor is best in the Avenger films.
Yeah.
Ragnarok though was excellent, but that was him literally rebooting the character. That was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Thor 1, he's plain. Thor 2, he's better, but the film's plain. Avengers 1, he's good. He works great with the team. Avengers 2, I don't remember at all. And then Civil War wasn't in, and then Ragnarok was great, and then these two are just him being Ragnarok Thor. So, you know, he's good after his reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Spider-Man needed a reboot, so did Thor.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you've mentioned Spider-Man. My entire life, I've hated the character of Spider-Man. I thought he was just a whiny little snot-nosed punk-ass brat.
Okay.
I've never enjoyed Spider-Man.
Now, did you read the comics? I mean, where was your first introduction of him to hate him so much? Then, what was the genesis? Do you think of that? 'Cause that's a very specific opinion.
Probably 1960s television show,
Okay.
the cartoon. I used to watch that a lot as a kid, and then I never really got into the comics as a result of that.
Right.
but he was always just came off as this teenager that was just a whiny little brat. It's like, you've got this power.
And
Why do you
great
have
responsibility.
Right. Why do you have...
Sorry.
and using my mindset at the time, I was like, well, you got this power. Why don't you just, why are you working in such a meaningless, pathetic job? And, do something with your power. Like, not just be a superhero, but like rob a bank. I don't know.
Oh.
He came off as a whiny little bitch to me. And then Tobey Maguire took up the mantle, and the movie was it was good. It was entertaining to watch, but I still wasn't into the character. I got into the character with Homecoming, because that's a Spider-Man that's likable, relatable. He's the right age. And he doesn't come off as whiny. He comes off as kind of a cocky teenager that thinks he can do everything when he really can't. So they retooled the character enough for me in Homecoming to really make me like him. And that, again, never been a Spider-Man fan. So...
Yeah, I quite liked... I was at different ages. I was the right age when I watched the cartoon in the 90s. I liked it. I thought it was good. I liked the power set.
That's a different cartoon completely.
I'm
talking about, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like... Because obviously, for me, my age, that could be me. White, slightly nerdy kid at school. And I've always liked the idea of being fast and seeing, having sense and whatever. That's always... I wouldn't care about flying. I'd rather teleport or be fast. I'd rather be Flash than Superman. Just for me.
I totally disagree. I'd rather fly. Like, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I could fly too, but I like it being fast, running fast. But I could do it in a helicopter. You know what I mean? Or Iron Man suit. So whatever. So I like Spider-Man as a concept because he is both really powerful and also really weak.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's given Captain America level strength and healing, but that in itself isn't enough. But he can also climb on walls. That's really useful. He can create webs, and the webs is how he uses them. Either nothing or lots of ways of using them, and that's what's interesting about it. Captain America is obviously he's a fighter. Spider-Man's not a fighter,
And he can do what a spider can. So.
And they can invent that as they go. No, I think Spider-Man's good, and Homecoming I think is just a great movie, and that's so important, being a good movie first and foremost.
Well, see, a lot of people didn't like Homecoming because it introduced Tony Stark as kind of the inspiration for the suit and stuff, and that was never really a thing with Spider-Man. He made his own suit. He was just a regular kid, right? And Tobey Maguire Spider-Man got that down pretty good. He drew his suit out. He had a original suit that he did the wrestling with. So that was well done, but I really like the addition of Tony Stark in the Iron Man suit, or the spider suit. But a lot of people weren't super happy with that because it took away the uniqueness of Spider-Man just being a kid that is doing the best he can with what he has. Instead, he's thrust into this amazing suit that has insta-kill and like 50 different web shooting options, right? Which I love that he actually uses insta-kill finally. In Homecoming, he activates it. I don't want to kill anybody. And then it definitely pays off.
But that's the thing. Spider-Man, when you have individual worlds, individual universes, which is what we see in every other superhero film before the Marvel MCU, he can be this lone boy with these lone powers. It's fine. But when he lives in a world where there's Iron Man, there's Thor, all these things exist, to have it connect in such a way that, he had a suit. He made his own suit first, great, and then he got a suit which lets him actually do his job better than otherwise. But the
movie gets it taken away from him too because he abuses the privilege of having the suit.
Yeah, and then he gets it back when he becomes an Avenger, obviously in the other one. So the suit is just an extension of him, and he is there to solve the problem of the movie. But guess what? The character is so strong in Homecoming. The suit is just, I'm not really, Okay, small example, but in the Christian Bale Batman films, did you really think that Christian Bale invented all the gadgets on his thing? Because he was in weapons and things. Like, do you not think he had designers designing stuff? He didn't design his tank. He just happened to use it all together. He didn't design it all.
Yeah, no, he was head of a multinational
Yeah.
corporation that had different divisions that didn't know what the other one was doing.
Yeah.
So of course he could develop things. Like he had the initial brainstorm idea for what he needed,
Yeah.
sourced it out to different divisions, brought him what he needed. That is actually the best way to do Batman, because for one man or even two men with Alfred to do all that, even with their unlimited resources, to just them in the cave, doesn't make any goddamn sense. So the way they included Lucius Fox and all the divisions of Wayne Industries to, get the Tumbler and get this and get that, and you want it painted black, that was really great actually. So I really that added another level of realism to the Batman character, and that's one of those reasons those films are so successful.
Okay, I'm glad you like that, because I mean it's the same argument. Well, he didn't design his own gadgets, so hate on the character. But no, it's part of that flow. It's part of that version of it. I think that's totally justifiable and totally enjoyable. I don't think it detracts from it at all.
Use the resources that are at your disposal, and
it's called being smart.
Yep, work smarter, not harder. That's the whole premise. Get other people to do things for you and get it delivered, and then you're good to go. You can focus on other stuff if you're not developing new tech, right? So
I mean, if Spider-Man gets shot, he bleeds, so give him a better suit so he doesn't get shot. I mean, it's
yeah. That being said, I really did like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. I didn't see them in theaters. I saw them after the fact.
Okay.
I really enjoyed their take on it. With what they did with a few characters I didn't like, but overall, I thought he was a pretty good Spider-Man. It was kind of a shame. He got shafted, I think, a little bit. But the new replacement, I'm sorry, is just better. So that was just the whole development from Sony giving up Spider-Man or whatever the deal was, because that's the only one that anybody would be interested in.
Temporary loan,
yeah. Just the development of that character has really paid off. It's just been a couple bad starts. So
yeah, and for me the Andrew Garfield one, the first one is surprisingly good, the second one is surprisingly bad, and they average out to be okay. But the first one I was like, oh, but the second one is just not good in not good for me. It's just so convoluted and so many things that aren't as But I like the first one, so it kind of averages out. And like I said, Andrew Garfield, I think, was even shafted in the second film. They were trying to create the whole cinematic universe in the second film, and then didn't serve the film. They served the franchise, which then failed. So it becomes nothing. Come on, guys, super chat questions. You wanna hear your thoughts in our last little bit? Come on, $20 more. Want to get $20 more for Infinity War and everything.
Yeah, we kind of went off the rails and just talked about superheroes in general, but we're saving all of our Endgame discussion for tomorrow, because there's a lot we can talk about in that film, which will be interesting. There's a lot I bit my tongue and haven't said in this one, just for that reason.
Good. Yeah, I like when things fresh.
So, but yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. And Spider-Man's part in Infinity War, I think, was great. Wasn't too much, but it was realistic the way that he handled the situation. Hi, I'm Peter Parker. I'm Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made-up names. Well, I'm Spider-Man.
Love
Even though that's his real name, but that's okay.
And he's still so capable. Like, at no point do you think, like, oh, he's going to get killed. But at no point do you think, oh, he can do anything by himself. You know, these films are great at the pairings because they all supported each other. Except for Captain America, who got shafted by having nothing to do. I mean, Captain America's the
Infinity War?
Yeah, I mean, because they knew he was going to be focused in the next one, and he's great in the next one. I think they only gave him a beard because either he's doing another film and couldn't shave it, or like will make him look different because different. But he's not. He's literally the least. Like even Black Panther's sister is more important, and she's like several tiers down in a nice way. But like Captain America, he's like didn't need to be in this film. Beyond neat, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he makes up for in the second.
Yeah, and I do like. Yeah, well, and Thor Thor's character pays off again in the second one as well, because in this one he had the struggle to get back to Earth, finally got to face Thanos,
Yep.
just about to kill him, and it's like should have went for the head, and of course he remembers that, uses it later, and it he's still racked with guilt for everything that's. It was just it's really complex and well written storylines as far as characters go. So,
and it was important to keep him out of it because, as we said a bit earlier, he is OP. So therefore, they give him a storyline in the first one where he's basically out of it the entire movie. He's out of the fight until the last minute, and guess what? He actually does. He would have killed Thanos. Like, he is that powerful. He would have got through and like Thanos with all the stones. He would have. He could have. And I love, when he comes in the battle, it's a great moment in Wakanda. And just like lightning's, 150 in one strike. It's like, yep, this guy is just. We just need him. This isn't. He's good. He's got enough. Yeah. And then you see, like, as you said, Bucky and Scarlett Johansson is like, have you got enough bullets there? Have you got enough bullets? Is that? Yep, good, okay, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, her character bothers me quite a bit. She should have been dead so many times, but. Shepard puts in 2 pounds. Samuel wants to run fast, like the Flash, and fly. Superman. Well, you're a huge Flash fan. I watched the original not the original, but the '90s one with my brother. I never got into the new one. I'm sure I'll really enjoy it if I do watch it. But yeah, it's just not my kind of superhero, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's season 1 is excellent, and he sort of goes downhill, gently down that hill as it goes on. Flash, which is sad. But season 1's great. Same with Arrow. Season 1 is just really, really good, just for structure.
I watched season 1 and season 2 of Arrow because my son Thomas was really into it. Then I just kind of got out of it. Just. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If things don't grip you, then why would you? Like, you as there's only so much time you can put towards things.
Yeah.
What was that for me?
Transformers. You hated it.
Well, I hate that people hate the hour and 20-minute battle in the third one. I think it's great. Like, it's fun, and obviously Spock.
I'm talking about the show.
The show.
The original '80s cartoon.
Oh, I never saw that one, but I saw the kids one where they had the kid on the skateboard who was a separate, and I was like, ugh. Yeah, because they're Transformers, and there's also the mini Transformers that have been made separately to help. And they're like on Earth.
The mini cons. That's Transformers Cybertron, some of them were really remarkably bad.
It's his scooter. Okay, good. But Beast Wars was good.
Transformers G1, Beast Wars, and Transformers Prime are the absolute best of all of them. There's a whole bunch of other really bad ones.
I don't know if I can go back and watch the first one now, because even when we did our review, I'm like, this interior of the ship, it doesn't make any sense. They don't need oxygen. Why is it so blocky? That chair, like, I saw it for what it was rather than the nostalgia value. So I think that's probably aged out for me.
Oh yeah, I don't think you can get into it. I just simply love it though.
Because now I think
you would like Prime though. I think if you were introduced just to Transformers Prime, I think you'd be into it.
Because I still think the G1, some of the looks, this is just a blocky mess. Like, I mean, it's a blocky dude. I mean, what do you want from me? It doesn't look cool. Some of the designs, but then, like, Beast was kind of the weird opposite. Oh, Shepard said someone didn't want to be Superman, but Flash, but he wanted to run fast and fly. Literally wants to be Superman because Superman can also run as fast as Flash. No, I know, but as a person, I like the idea of running more than flying, and so. But I'm happy to fly with a helicopter. I mean, yeah, I know, but the thing is, if Superman can, I know he is also as fast as Flash mostly, but then it defeats the point of having Flash. Superman can do both.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no point. You've got two Supermans, but one can't do anything else. But Superman can't throw electric bolts. Can't do that.
I'm sure he could build up enough of a static charge that he could do it. He can throw the big S on his chest.
Speaking of...
kiss people and make them forget things.
Oh yeah, that was a power, wasn't it?
Unfortunately.
And obviously time travel. Okay, so your favorite moments from Infinity War. End on a high, or your favorite, like, you know, you might have always said a few of them. What's your favorite moments from Infinity War?
The meetup between Tony Stark and Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Thor moments I really enjoyed, especially with the interaction with the Guardians of the Galaxy and meeting the rabbit and things like that.
Rabbit and tree.
Yeah, yeah. And the fact that he learned how to speak I am Groot because it was an elective at school. Some good humor there.
Yeah.
What else did I really enjoy about? One thing I didn't like, actually, you asked me something I didn't like earlier. I didn't like Iron Man's new armor. It's too rounded, and I don't like the way that this reactor on his chest looks like a heart. I know it's not shaped like a heart, but at first glance from a distance, it looks like a heart. I prefer the original, the first movie Iron Man armor. It's just harder lines. It seems more like armor, so that's one thing I don't like.
It's funny. I walked out of Infinity War thinking, "Wow, Iron Man's armor is just like God now." I mean,
it's OP, yeah.
But someone pointed out, someone smart said though, yes, but they just met up with Wakanda, and guess what? Black Panther's suit is. It's a thing that becomes an entire suit from nanite. So the tech already exists. So of course, once Iron Man sees it, he can make his own version. And like if he didn't have it, and obviously you can't fight. That's what the director said. I mean, how can we fight Thanos in metal? No, it has to be something really, really powerful. Luckily, that's the end of the bar stops there. I mean, he does the Iron Man suit, so that is the last best. Pepper can't design Iron Man suit, so that is the absolute pinnacle of where that tech will be, which makes sense. That is the pinnacle of where that tech can be. But I'm fine with it being, Wakandans can do it. So with that knowledge, he could do it. But yeah, it's OP, but also it's damn cool.
It is, but I just don't like the way it looks. It doesn't look like armor. It looks too rounded and too. I don't know. Well, it's just too soft in appearance.
It's a second skin. It's not armor.
Yes.
But I do like in the Thanos battle on Titan though, because you don't know that's its ability, but I like that it's got a limited amount of nanites. So as the battle goes on and Thanos just breaks shit, he has to then move bits of his armor, different parts of his body to do different abilities because, I'm actually running out of my ability to do nanites. It grounds it instantly. In a fight, I'm good for a certain amount of time, for a certain amount of fight, but this is not invincible. You blow it up and I lose pieces. And as soon as you lose half the suit, you can't go into space. There's things that actually becomes. So I actually quite like that. I thought that was fun. Okay, what else do you like? What other favorite moments?
The soundtrack's great, and it even carries over to Endgame. There's those beats that they hit when epic things happen, so that's great. That's about it that I can think of. Peter Dinklage, that's really good. Nice surprise there.
It's dumb, but it's funny.
He's still a dwarf. He's referred to as one, but
dwarf giant.
Yeah,
it's funny.
So yeah, there's lots about Infinity War I like, and very little I dislike. It's a good film overall, but I can't wait to talk about Endgame.
Okay, one more annoying question then.
Oh God.
Would this be in your top 5 Marvel films?
No.
Would it be in your top 10?
Yes.
Top 7?
Probably.
Okay.
I'd need to actually make a list. But yeah, there are other ones I'd definitely watch first before this one.
Okay.
Because I don't even own this one yet. Usually, I know. I like to get all these in 3D because they look amazing in 3D and haven't found it in 3D.
Would it even release in 3D? I mean, did the film come out in 3D at all?
Yeah, it was in 3D in the theaters. And as far as Blu-ray goes, I haven't looked for this one specifically, but you can find them all in 3D eventually. Just gotta know where to look.
I thought they stopped doing that.
No, you can still find them.
Okay.
Because I got a nice 3D TV and I love 3D. A lot of people can't really, they can take it or leave it. I really love 3D. I think it really adds to the film for me.
So, when it's done right. That's always the thing.
Yeah, there's certain moments that are really need it.
And I still remember watching Avatar for the first time in the cinema and just the depth of, I felt like these are real rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're real. I'm watching a mirror. I'm looking through a window, sorry. That was such an experience. Whereas most films are just kind of like I haven't watched a 3D film in a long time, to be fair, in cinema.
Yeah, a lot of times it's kind of wasted. It just doesn't need it.
But for
So
me, it should be subtle. Just see the world more like it really is in 3D, and then you get like in 3D. It's about that dimensionality of the universe and playing with that, and rather than stuff coming at you, because that's a gimmick for me.
yeah, well, that's why I like science fiction movies and like movies like this in the theater in 3D are great. Because there's those moments where during epic battles and stuff where you get 3D really pans out for me. It is gimmicky, but I really enjoy it. So,
I mean, but that's the thing. If it's a payoff moment, it's not a gimmick. That's the cool moment, that's not gimmick. It's the thing. You know.
So your turn. What did you like about Infinity
War? Favorite moments. I really like the Thor and Chris Pratt interactions. I thought they were just everything on the ship was just really fun, unexpectedly fun. I love the intro, unexpected. I like the balance between the small moments with Pepper and stuff, although it turns out it's quite important. They do have a ton of small moments, and as the film goes on, it focuses down, 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 down. I think that's a really great framing structure. I like Thanos in general. I think he's pretty well done considering. And everything Doctor Strange, like he really stands out in this film as just like everything he does and says is a 10, and that's kind of like surprising. Like even so much as his first moment, he's walking out of the monastery thing in a hoodie because he's going out to get food, because he's like, I was the guy first, I don't care. What do you want from me? And as the guy comes in, as the Hulk smashes in, he magics himself into his costume. It's like, that's so cool.
Yeah, you see the cape fly around and attach. It's like, shit's about to get real.
It's like when Thor, he lightnings his costume on. It's like, what? What? And the ending is just really, really good. I mean, you kind of wish, like you said, that Scarlet Witch had done more. But obviously her point was to do the destruction of the, and normally I would agree with the mass community that massive army of CGI villains running at the camera they don't care about is boring. But I liked, rather than the Jatari, I think they called it in the Avengers 1, which they're foot soldiers, but who the hell cares? I liked that in Infinity War and Endgame they are creatures. They're literally cattle kill creatures. It makes more sense as a who the hell cares, but, fleet of people. So I like that slight shift in context.
I didn't like the floating whales though that are everywhere. I don't know what those are, but they annoy me.
I like the idea and the design, but what are they? Why are they? Who are they? When are they?
Why are they?
Yeah.
I'll do you one better. Why is she?
That's a perfect line. Perfect. So yeah, guys. So who wants to be the final super chat of the night? In this, I had a lot of fun talking to you straight about this.
I had a lot more fun doing this one than I thought I would. I know we're gonna have fun with Endgame because there's a lot to talk about.
A lot more negatives, I think. There's a lot of like plot things we have to think about. This one is very straightforward and streamlined. The next one, there are things to talk about.
Yes, there's plot holes, there's problems, but that's okay.
Yes, but also epic moments beyond belief.
Yes.
And
so, guys, if you are into Endgame and want to see that, that is tomorrow's live stream. So join us same time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be talking about Endgame for 2 hours at least, maybe a little bit more, depending on how the conversation goes. And look forward to having more people here than just... I think it's because this was an older one that people might not have tuned in. We hit about 50-something. We usually do more than that. But thank you to everyone that super chatted. The super chats are greatly appreciated.
Super necessary. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. So,
and we are doing more Trek live streams soon. Yes. We have some very good ideas. We're on a little break from episode stuff, but as in episode review stuff. But we have some good plans, and you'll see them pretty soon. And like we said before, a surprise thing we're announcing possibly next week, depending, which will be really exciting. And we need your help again. But we hope to do cool things for you, and we're hoping that'll hit that sweet spot of cool.
Yes. So don't worry, there are more Star Trek coming up. A lot of people are like, why are you doing this stuff? It's like, well, we're taking a break from Star Trek for now because we did it constantly since Discovery's been on the air. So we need a break.
And yet there are still Saturdays out every week, never missed.
Yes.
Not missed a single one in what, almost, is it 4 years or 5 years?
It's going to be 5 years in October,
Oh,
so 4.5 years.
5. Jesus. Oh my god.
What?
I thought it was 4. Well, I didn't know it was 4 or 5. 5 years.
5 years in October.
Dang.
Right?
That's a while, Stuart. That's a while. That's people gotta buy us like a cake or something. Like, maybe we should do
We need to do something epic for our 5-year.
Because that's yeah, that's something.
Definitely is something. But yeah, so anybody else want to super chat? That'd be great. And we'll see you tomorrow too. So tune in for that for sure.
It'll
be a better conversation tomorrow. I think we'll have more people. It'll be more relative.
Yeah, I enjoyed the one today. I enjoyed about Infinity War. The thing is, I think it's my I guess my end summary. It's a really good film. There's not much to complain about it. Like, it's just a really good film. It's really solid. You know.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow earlier in the day. Yay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.